Hello everyone, welcome to Spot On, brought to you by the Kid Leads Foundation. This Spot On is all about stories that inspire, stories that teach, and stories that spark the imagination of young minds. I am Kuya Samiat, and I'm very excited to be your host for today because today marks the beginning of a very beautiful journey. At the Kid Leads Foundation, we believe in the power of stories, art, and creativity in shaping the minds of young viewers. Sorry. So this Spot On is all about, going through the stories, journey, experiences of authors. So if you're a young author, an aspiring storyteller, an illustrator, or just someone who loves a good book, this series is for you. Today we're going to be diving into the life, the journey, and the creative process of Moyosoreoluwa Aladesuyi. So in each Spot On, we're going to look at the journey, the creative process, and how these authors have been able to shape the world with their words. So because this series is all about stories, we're going to start with somebody who started writing at a time where many of us were still trying to dream with crayons in hand. Our very first guest today is Moyosoreoluwa Aladesuyi. Moyosore is the author of The A to Z of You. Moyosore is a speaker, a storyteller, and a writer. So I'm going to try to get Moyo on the live now. That way we can dive into what we have to do today. Moyosore. Moyo. So guys, bear with us till we are able to get Moyo on the live. So if you're excited to be here, please continue to drop your comments. We're going to get Moyo here with us now. Let me tell you about Moyo. Moyo is a writer, a speaker. Hi Moyo, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Samiat. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So Moyo, today is about your story, your journey, and the experiences that have shaped you. Moyo, you mentioned that to start when you started writing, the person who actually inspired you to write for children, especially, is Ife Aduradola, the author of Bam Bam Surprise. So how did Ife impact your journey as a writer?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So she's like my big sister, and we are both very, very involved in the children's space. The writer, and I don't like to call myself a writer, but I'm a writer as well. And I didn't really know that I would end up writing for children until it was said to me by one of my leaders, and then I saw Ife also doing the same thing, and I just following her, just watching her do her thing. I was just like, let me also try to write for children. And so even when I got the inspiration to write my first book for children, she was like, yes, do this, and like she helped me, she guided me on the process, and yes, so she has really been my my major support in this space. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you to Ife for that. And here you have a writer at that. So Moyo, can we rewind and bring the clock back a bit? How old were you when you wrote your very first book?
Ah, it was just last year, funny enough. Well, I wrote it two years ago, but it just came out last year, and so I don't know, 21, I think. I can't remember. Yes, 21, 22, thereabouts. Yes,
Yeah.
and my first.
At that, sorry,
Sorry.
I'm listening to you.
Yeah, I said it's my first and only book, really. So
But it's taking the world by storm, and I'm happy you're
yeah,
able to do what you love doing. So
yes.
Moyo, at that age, a lot of us are still trying to figure out life.
Hmm.
I can say as one person, I'm still trying to figure out life. What
Yeah.
inspired to just say, "Oh, let me write a book and
Mm.
actually see it through"? Because you might have started and you would have stopped in the middle, like I can't do this anymore. What
Yeah.
pushed you to see it through?
Okay, so I think that um one of the things I always tell people is when you know why you're doing something, it helps you along the journey, right?
Yeah.
So my writing that born out of just ambition, because there's some people that they just write because, oh, I want to write. This
Mm-hmm.
was really a, I don't know if this is a Christian organization, but I'm a Christian, I'm a child of God, but it was an assignment, something that God told me to do, right? So
So,
even times when, I mean, like you mentioned, there were a couple of times where I was just like, do I want to go on with this? Do I want to continue?
yeah.
And I just remember why he said I should do this, right? Like you said, a lot of us are still trying to figure out ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And what I wrote was really about identity. And it's such a crucial topic, especially for children, because I mean, a lot of things in the world are trying to tell us, oh, this is who you are, this is what you are, and everything.
Yeah.
Don't get our identity from the right source, is going to lead to a lot of damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure a lot of us can see what identity crisis is doing to a lot of people. So just knowing why I was doing it helped me with the journey. So times where I will tell my friends that, I cannot do this again. And having a very good support system, people who
Mm-hmm.
believe in the vision, even sometimes more than you. I remember I'll tell some of my friends that, I don't think I want to do this again. And they'll say, eh, you don't want to do what? I remember a
Because
particular friend of mine, she sent me was it a video or a picture of something where I don't want to do it. So she sent it to me, like, do you still not want to do this? So do you want something better? I think that's my
yes, Moyo, thank you very much for that. So you talked about how you have a support system that really pushed you through this whole journey. Who were
yeah.
these people that pushed you like?
So I'm always very, very I'm always very careful with mentioning names because it's easy to miss some names. But I
You
mean, I had,
don't need to mention names.
so let me mention some names because there are some people that even up till now they're still very, very much like involved, right? Ayo Adeloye, I don't know, she might be on this live, but yes, Ayo Adeloye, Ife Ajoajola, like I mentioned, my
Yes, yes.
friend Victoria, Jerry, Anu. I mean, there were a lot of other people, even my parents. When I told them about it, it's like they're like, I've always been writing, even though I was not writing stories when I was a child. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But just having a support system that actually believes in you. I have a very, very strong support system, to be honest. My cousin Dolako, my sister, there are a lot of there are lots of people. So
Yeah.
I think
Thank God,
I'm a very human
because
being.
I feel like without them, you wouldn't be who you are today.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes,
the story
yes.
you wanted to talk about. I feel like I have an insight of that because you mentioned how you used to write about your apology and your annoyance to your parents.
Yes, so
Were
that
you
was
about that?
okay. So that was actually how I started writing, right? Because when I was younger, I was a very, very, I don't want to call myself stubborn, but I was a special child. Like I liked, it was the things that I want to do is what I would do, right?
Mm,
And I remember I used to get into trouble a lot.
mm,
Ah, I used to get into trouble a lot too. And the way I used to get out of the trouble was, these long books that we used to use in school.
Yeah.
Hey, me when I've done something and I know that they're going to punish me or something, or they've even punished me, I'm really feeling bad. I'm going to do is just sit down with this long full scalp sheet and start writing my apology. Or when somebody offends me, that's the best way for me to express myself.
Yeah.
Just give me a biro and a book or a sheet of paper. Just leave me alone. I just write everything past my mind, and then I'll just gonna put it on either my dad or my mom's bedside table. When they wake up or when they come back, they'll read it. And I think for a long time, my dad still kept a lot of those letters, right? And
Wow.
he used to refer that you know how to write, even if all the writing you used to do was when you have caused trouble. But that was really how I started writing, and that was how I knew that okay, I actually had the gift of writing. So yes, that was it.
That's very inspiring. Maybe I'll start writing. Maybe I'll become you very soon. So, Moyo, let's talk about your creative process, like the behind the scenes of bringing a book to life. How do you go about writing a book? Do you just let it flow, or you have like a certain process to go with?
Mm. Okay. So funny enough, before I joined this time, I was thinking about that. What's my creative process like? The first thing that comes is I always get an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Either it's pointed out to me, maybe I see an issue, right?
Yeah.
And that issue is highlighted to me. When it's highlighted to me, a solution comes up, and then I'm just like, okay, let me write about it or speak about it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sometimes it's just that, oh, let it just flow. Sometimes I just write a word on a paper and then like it just starts flowing.
Yeah.
But the source of every inspiration or every piece I've written is always from God, right? Because He's the creator of the whole universe, and
Yes.
we cannot create anything without Him, right? So He's the source of everything I create, either in my podcast, in writing, anything. But I try to create systems or like a structure around my process. So, like when I was writing this book, because of the structure of the book, I gave myself a deadline. I told myself, oh, I got the inspiration in January, and I told myself by June I must have finished writing it. And
Wow.
so I gave myself, yeah, I told myself this is how you're going to write it. In a month, you write like three different letters in a month, because it's like A B C D E F G H to Z. You
Yeah.
write as the month or something. And I gave myself punishment or like rewards. If you don't write, you're not going to watch K drama. If you don't write, you're not going to buy this thing for yourself, right?
Okay.
And then so, yes, so and then also leaning back on my support system. I had people that I told, oh, please hold me accountable. By this time, I remember I think I told my friend Jerry, by this time, please ask me how far I've gone in this piece,
Mm-hmm.
right? And just keep checking up on me, because if you leave me and like I may not end up doing it. So my creativity flows as God helps me and as God leads, but there's also that place of you by yourself creating a structure to let
Yeah.
it actually flow. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the fact that your creative process brings peace, because if I tell myself, "Oh, I'm not going to watch K drama," I'll end up watching it. I won't lie to myself. I will watch it because
Yes, so
I'm going to do this, and I won't watch K drama. I am going to watch it. So, Moyo,
mm-hmm.
this book you spoke about, the A to Z of you. I know many times that I have picked a book and I'm like, this book might be interesting, and then I start reading the book and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
not this is not the kind of book I want to read. How do you balance making a book fun and meaningful for children? You know how children are, their attention span is quite.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that was even my challenge when writing this book, because it's one thing to write for like adults, it's an entirely different thing to write for children. You have to
Exactly.
break down your language, you have to make it very concise, straight to the point, because like you said, their attention span is very short.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because I spend a lot of time with children, it wasn't so hard for me, right? Because like I remember there were some times when I was writing, I had to like picture in my mind, okay, how is this child going to say the same thing? Or if I say to this person in this way, is she going to understand me? So it was a bit easy for me because, again, I spend a lot of time with them. But also it was difficult because it was my first book, and it's a non-fiction book, right?
Yeah.
If it was even fiction, maybe it would have been a bit easier.
Mm.
But just understanding your audience, understanding that these people, this is how they speak, this is how they understand, this is the kind of language they understand, this is how they will grasp this information, right? I know that I had to also pick up some children books to read. Like, I had to go back to read this my friend's book, Bam Bam Surprise, just to understand again, how am I going to put this information down in the way my audience would understand, right? So yeah, I think that's it for me for that question.
Yeah, that's very amazing. I like the fact that you're able to think about how your audience will relay your, like, how they will get your message to them, because kids are kids. They will always get it in a way that gets them. And you incorporated illustrations and all that. It the book A to Z of You, I must tell you, it's a very creative and empowering book. And the way you structured your book is so inspiring, because as an adult I read it and I was like, I saw your stuff on your page, how you were, giving out blessed. I saw the word blessed B, and I think E is excellent. Yeah. So
Yes, he is
when
excellent.
so when you were thinking about starting this book, the A to Z of You, because this book talks about identity with the alphabet, how did you bring up this approach? Because it's quite amazing.
So like I said, this idea came from God. To be honest, I remember the day it came. I remember how I had to quickly scribble out the ideas as it came.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I was at a program and we asked to pray. I can't remember what we were asked to pray about, but that idea just came to my head. The title came as it came. I wrote it out, and then the format of the book. And I remember when I had the format, I shared it with a friend that see what I'm supposed to do. And from then I had to now start, you have to start filling in, what does A stand for? What does B stand for? What does C stand for? So I mean, some of it was easy. Some I had to sit and like really think, pray, okay, what does this, like the letter X, for example. That was very, very difficult for me. Because how many words starts with X,
Thanks. Yeah.
right? But then I got the inspiration to just like shorten it. Use was it example I ended up using? I think so. Right. So I think the idea of the A to Z is because, again, it's for children. They are learning their alphabets. The way they learn A is for apple, B is for ball. Why don't they learn about themselves? Like, A, I am the apple of God's eyes. B, I am blessed. B, I'm chosen. I am designed by God. I'm beautiful. I'm all of these things, right? It's easy for them to hold it in, understand it, and remember it, right? So that was the inspiration behind it.
That's very nice, because as I'm learning my letters, I was learning A for apple, B for ball. If you were teaching me A for, what did you call it? A for what? What
Apple,
did you
apple of God's eyes.
apple of God's eye. B for blessed, because we are blessed. So Moyo, personally, do you have a favorite letter in the A to Z of You?
Mm-hmm.
So what's your favorite letter?
Ah, have a favorite beyond. I don't read letter. But if I were to choose one, I
Mm,
think I'll choose Z. Letter Z.
C for what? C for
Z
story.
in the book stands
Is
for,
it
yeah. Z stands for story.
okay? That's amazing.
Yeah, I think
So
I
why
think I'll choose that
is it your favorite?
because Z tells us that we have the life of God,
Yeah.
right? That at the end of this life here on earth is not the end, right? You have a
Mhm.
different life that does not end, that is more beautiful than this. So I think that will be my favorite letter.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So writing a book must have been a great feat. Publishing it, another one. Then trying to, get people. You even know about your book. So how did the public
Mm-hmm.
world go for you?
Ah, see, if they told me that writing, when it comes to producing a book, writing is the easiest part. Though. You see, publishing it and then selling it, that's another different thing. But again, I really thank God that I had and I have, right? So this Ife Adradola that I spoke about, she really helped in the publishing process. So when I finished writing, I met her like, oh, what's the next thing for me to do? What are the things I need? Because I self-published it, right? It's not like I gave it
Oh,
to a publisher and I was like, oh, please help me, right? But she already, because she had already done it, she already knew, oh, this is who you should meet, this is how you should do this is how long this process takes, and everything. So it was easy for me because I had her, right? But then now, getting people to see the book, know the book, and even get the book again, I don't know. My life is just seeing people is very very important, right?
mm-hmm.
I remember when I shared it with some people. I mean, it was the people around me that helped me to disseminate and tell everybody, oh, this book is out, this and this and this, get this book.
Yeah.
If, like my I have a particular friend, she was the first person, even before the book was out, she was the
Mm-hmm.
first person who pre-ordered, and she pre-ordered a very large amount. I was like, wait, first of all, where do you get this money from? Because how will you? But it was just a thing of, we believe in what you've done. We
Yeah.
want everybody to make the book, right? And I mean, we're still in the process of getting people to see the book and buy the book, but it has been a very good experience, right? We learn every day, and this has really taught me a lot.
I love that you have friends that are supporting you. So I have a
Mm-hmm.
question. Have you ever been recognized by your book that, oh, that is Moyo, the writer of A to Z of you?
Ah, have I? I think so. I think so. I was somewhere. I think we were talking about a book, right? Oh, the person saw the book, and the person was like, "Oh, I've seen this book somewhere before." Right? And the person didn't know that the name on the book, written by Moyosoreoluwa Aladesuyi, the person didn't know that I was standing right beside him. Until my friend that was with him now said, this is the person that wrote the book. And I was like, are you serious? Oh my God, well done, blah, 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 and all of that, right? And I think there was another time that somebody posted about it on Twitter, on X, and a friend, two friends actually, they sent me the screenshot and were like, look at your book online, no, this and this. I was like, oh wow, because that was the first time, that was like close book just got out. So it felt really good that people are getting the book, people are talking about it and everything. So yeah, that's a
That's
few
right.
times, yeah.
So a viewer is asking, how can or where can we get the book, the A to Z of you?
Yeah, you can get it on Stella. It's on my Instagram page. I'm also in the process on Amazon for people that are not in Nigeria. All right, so when it is out, I would let everybody know. But it's currently available on Seller. You can just order it, and then we'll find a way to get it to you.
Okay, guys, I hope you heard that. You can check Moyo's page for the link to get the book. So, Moyo, this is a question that should be asked for every kid because as a kid, I wanted to be a princess first. Then I wanted to be a Power Rangers. Like, I wanted to be all the colors, not necessarily one. People wanted to be yellow, but I wanted to be red, blue, green, and white. So, if you weren't right,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think you'd be doing right now?
Ah, I do you know the funny thing? I've been thinking about I wasn't writing because I have a lot of interests. There
Mm-hmm.
are a lot of things I could be doing, right? So, but if I wasn't writing, which is one of the many things I do, I think I would be teaching. Actually,
Yeah.
I, I
Okay, I
would be
think that
teaching
kind
in
of
an.
makes sense since you're even teaching kids about their identity already. It's kind of tallies.
Exactly.
Like you have an ambition just to get people to know themselves, to enlighten
Mm-hmm.
about things, and that makes a lot of sense. Because I don't think anybody, I for one, will not say I want to be a teacher. I know I could teach, but going into teaching is a lot. I pray for my teachers
Mm-hmm. Is
because
it not so?
they
Is
went
a lot.
through a lot with me. So, Moyo, as you said, you like being around funny people, and
Mm-hmm.
you're a funny person too. So, based off your book and your personality, what's one thing that your readers would not know about you?
Ah, what's one thing that people don't know
Yeah,
about my personality?
that you would like to share with us, of course.
Okay, I think one is that I can be a very, very, very shy person.
Really?
And people will not believe this, but my people, the people that are like this inside my life, they
Yeah.
know. Before I joined this life, I sent a message to some of my friends, Victoria, Derry, and then Ayo. I was
Mm.
like, Omo, I'm nervous. So. And they had to like encourage me, confidence that you can do this. I can be that person because a lot of people think, which is somehow because of the way I have portrayed myself, they think that I'm this very, very confident person. Oh, she can do me, I can be shy. Oh.
It's really hard to believe that we're on my path because you've been great through all this. So, guys, if you have any question for Moyo, you can drop it in the comment section. We'll come back to that. So, Moyo,
Mhm.
of course, people are aspiring to be writers. People are aspiring to be like you and even more than what you're doing, probably in a different section. So, Moyo, what advice, or maybe what phrase, or maybe three words would you like to tell about?
So, please, can you repeat the question? The
I said,
network
what
is breaking a bit.
advice, quote, or phrase would you love to give aspiring authors like you?
Hmm. I think what I would say is something that my cousin told me when I was feeling a type of way writing the book. I was like, people have already written books about identity and everything,
Yeah.
but she said, the A to Z of you. Have they written it the way you will write it? So
Mm-hmm.
if you have to write something, there may be 100 people who have the same idea. Idea is like water, right?
Yeah.
There may be 100 people who have the same idea, but because you are unique, because you are special, nobody can tell your story the way you will tell your story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't let one person's um own idea or one person's closeness to you or whatever hinder you from doing the very thing that you want to do. You're
Yeah.
unique, which is one of the things that this book also tells us. You're unique, you're special, you're different, you have a particular spice to yourself that nobody else has, and you should not deprive the world of that thing. So just let your light shine, release all the things that you have on your inside that God has put in you, and bless the world with it. Yeah, so that's what I'll tell anybody that wants to start writing.
So that's it, guys. Let your idea shine. Don't think because somebody has written ABC to Z, you can still write it again, but write it in your own way. Let your words show through you. So,
One
Moyo,
way.
thank you very much for hanging out with us today. This has
Thank you
been
so
amazing and it
much.
has been really inspiring for me. And I'm sure the comment section is buzzing. And Yola Oluwanshola said this was an amazing ride. Victoria says you're unique. Thank you so much, guys, for being here with us. So that's it for today. We're wrapping up today's Spot On. Thank you guys for joining this session. Please don't forget to follow Moyo's page at Moyo Aladesuyi. And click on the link to get a book. Oh, but do you have a copy of your book to show the viewers? That
Yeah, it's right there.
yeah, that is Moya's book, The A to Z of You Guys. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys.
Thank you so much.
Guys, and please, guys, make sure you're following this page so you will not miss other, consecutive sessions. And somebody's asking where we can get the book. Moyo says you can get it on our page. There's a link to getting the book on our page. Is that right, Moyo?
Yes, there's a link on my page.
The link on our bio. And for people abroad, she said she's trying to bring it to Amazon so you guys can get the book too. So thank you for today, Moyo.
Thank you so much, Samia. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
There it was.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry.